Hey gangs, Jimmy with Arkansas First News coming to you from the Cowtown compound. Everybody in the state knows about the hearing that Conway Police Department officer Brittany Byrd has been going through, appealing a termination. She was terminated on June 30th of this year. Big story around the state. The hearing has been just crazy, a fiasco. I'd talked to Brittany and I'd asked her to come on. She has been muzzled up for a long time. So she has been wanting to speak out and get some things out to the public. This is her opportunity. So we've got her today. Hey, Brittany, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for coming on. I know you've been really wanting to talk to the public, haven't you?
That's a bit of an understatement, but yes.
All right. Well, let's get to it. Your nightmare at the Conway PD, it started quite a long time ago, but on June 30th of this year, that nightmare really went into overdrive because that's when Conway Police Chief Harris terminated you. Now, obviously, we got the news last Friday that at the hearing that the commission is upholding that termination with a 2-2 vote. It was a tie. Two voted to reinstate you. Two voted to uphold the termination, which means the termination is upheld. Okay. It's
Yeah,
not what.
according to the civil service rules or something, in the event of a tie, it kind of defaults to the original decision. So
Yes, it's not the decision you were wanting. It's certainly not the decision that the community of Conway was wanting. So tell us right now, though, how are you holding up through this whole process to date? How are you holding up?
it has been trying, of course. There's been a lot of disappointments along the way. It's some days are pretty difficult on my family and the people that, love me and care about me and stuff like that. But I'm okay. I'm okay. I am probably more motivated than ever right now to finish this thing out, see it through, and we're ready to go. So I'm okay.
Good, because obviously you and I have talked. I'm a huge supporter of yours. Everybody knows it.
I appreciate that.
And, but one thing we talked about is this is not just a fight for your job. This is a fight for right versus wrong.
That's exactly right.
Good. And now, uh, you made the decision at the beginning, from the day you got terminated, you made the decision if the commission did not reinstate you, you were going to appeal this to circuit court here in Conway. Or is that the plan right now? Are you still going to appeal this?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, my it's obviously not the decision that we were hoping for at the civil service level. We were hoping to, get the situation taken care of and we're hoping for the right thing to happen then. Unfortunately, it didn't. So my legal team is already working on getting that appeal out there and pursuing, you know, our other options and taking this to the next level. We're not done at all. We're just getting started.
Speaking of your legal team, they really did a phenomenal job at this hearing. Tell the folks who your legal team is. Talk about them just for a minute.
Yeah. So first of all, I am super proud of all of them. I'm very pleased with them. They have put in countless hours of reviewing video and transcripts and just I mean you just wouldn't believe how much time has gone into to this hearing and trying to right this wrong. I am represented by Alex Albertson, Robert Newcomb, and my stepmom, Angela Byrd. And they have done an awesome job. I have no issues whatsoever with their representation of me thus far. And, I couldn't have asked for anything more out of those guys and girls.
Just real quick, it's one thing to deal with an attorney, right? It's
Mm.
another thing to deal with your mom, who's your attorney. So, as a mom, stepmom, daughter aspect, and everything, how was that? How was that?
Well, I do want to say that my biological mom, her name's Rhonda. She's been there through this process as well. She's been to every hearing and she's been very supportive too. So I want to make sure that I give her.
Let me say something about her real quick. She's a wildcat. She is.
She's a
She is.
firecracker.
She is. She is. And so,
She's a
yeah,
firecracker.
absolutely.
But Angie's been in my life, since I was 5 years old, and I'm 36 now, so you can tell that's a good while. And there's good and bad with having your stepmom be one of your attorneys. Because the good thing is she can't really fire me. But the bad thing is I can't really fire her either. So.
Yeah.
But she's awesome. I can't thank her enough for everything that she's done.
Well, I tell you, she is your mom. Your mom is awesome. Your whole family is awesome. Your dad, Carl, is just uh, he's just a down to earth guy. All right. Let's get into the meat of the matter. Okay, let's get to the okay. We get to day 4 of the hearing. Okay, Harris is still presenting his case. Now, out of the blue, at the beginning of that meeting, just out of the blue, Commissioner Mike Mason, he's the chairman of the commission.
That's right.
He makes a ruling at the behest of Commissioner Eric King. To all of a sudden, you hadn't even got to start your case yet, but all of a sudden he makes a ruling that he's going to limit the number of witnesses you can call. Now, this is a witness list that he had already approved in a pre-hearing meeting. Okay. When you were sitting there, you had no clue this was coming.
No
How
idea.
did that hit you? How did that hit you when he made out of the blue made that ruling?
Well, before I answer that, I'll say what a lot of people don't know is we had already trimmed down our witness list more than once. We had a lot of witnesses that are vital witnesses. They had a lot of good information that we would have loved to get out there and present to the public, and were beneficial to the case. But we had already made sort of just in good faith to try to help the process along. We had already made some cuts to our witness list. So what you're talking about that happened in the hearing, that wasn't the first time that we, sort of had to narrow it down. To answer your question, I was shocked. I mean, that's not something that you expect or could prepare for, or there's no way that we could have known that that was going to happen. And here we are showing up for a day full of a hearing, and then right at the very beginning, before it was ever even actually my turn, the city was nearing the end of their witnesses. We were told that, and it sort of threw us for a loop. It was disheartening, to say the least.
Of course, I was at every hearing the whole time. A lot of people made the hearings each day. A lot of people were trying to come to the ones they could. But one thing I do remember about that when they did that, the entire room was just turning around and looking at each other like, "What's going on here?"
Mm-hmm.
And it really resonated in the community as well that took place. Now, I want to get into some more meat and matter, but I do want to go ahead and make clear that Angie, your attorney, stepmom Angie, has made it clear to me that you can't discuss any of the evidence in the case.
That's right,
in
because
this
we're
interview.
feeling it. We're
Okay.
we're going full speed ahead.
So I'm not going to push that because I don't want on her bad side, but I do want the folks out there to know that as much as you would like to talk about that, that you can't right now.
There's certain things that can't be discussed. Yeah.
Yeah, and so okay, we get through that. That's a curveball. That's the first curveball, right? Because that was
I wouldn't say that was the first one, but that was definitely a big one.
That was big, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and point out, and I want everybody, you're not pointing this out, I'm pointing it out. I'm gonna say that Chairman Mason and Eric King, those are the two that voted to uphold your termination. Okay, this was at Eric King's behest, and Chairman Mason made that ruling on his request to do so. So yeah, that's not you saying it. That's me saying it. Okay, so we're getting halfway through day 5. Okay, you're finally getting to start to present your case. You're feeling good, right? At the end of day 6, September 20th, Chairman Mason announces that we're going to have quite a big break all of a sudden, that we're going to end there, and we're not going to reconvene till October 10th. Okay.
We were told that day it was going to be, when we left that day, it was going to be October 10th and 13th. Those were 2 days that were pre-planned.
Right. And so he announced that we were going to come back on Friday, October 10th, and then continue on Monday, October 13th.
That's correct.
Okay. And so even though your witness list had been cut down, okay, even though you'd been thrown curveballs throughout this process, you and your attorneys are still feeling really good about this case. Okay. Then all of a sudden, and here's the thing that what people don't know. On Friday, October 3rd, something happened that changed the whole trajectory of this hearing. Tell the folks what happened on that Friday.
Well, in between the last day of the hearing in September and the gap, so to speak, in the hearing until it started back on October 10th, there's a lot of things that happen that people don't know about. That goes back into the stuff that can't really be discussed right now. There's a lot of things that happen, but what you're referring to, I believe, is my attorneys were contacted by the attorney that's supposed to be representing the Civil Service Commission. His name escapes me right now. At first, Charles Finkenbeiner.
Gary Giles.
Okay, right. Yeah, Finkenbeiner, he was there for a couple days, and then he sort of abruptly was out and replaced by that guy. So
let me jump in there real quick, because you just said something we need to clarify, and that's on me, not you. This is on me to clarify that. Charles Finkenbeiner is the city attorney for Conway, okay, yes. And he represents the Civil Service Commission and acts as their attorney and their parliamentarian during meetings and hearings. He was at the first, right, and he was at the first couple, and then all of a sudden he's AWOL, and now we have a private attorney that comes in that's not with the city. He owns his own law firm in Conway, and so the commission apparently has brought him in. Charles is gone. Okay, so I want to make sure the folks know that at that point. So
yeah, I'll sorry to interrupt you there, but I just want to say, I'm not sure why that happened, or what. We weren't given an explanation, so I'm not sure why that occurred, but yes, it did happen, and we were sort of like, who is he? But that's just the way it happened. So,
and but things really started changing when he came on board. So all of a sudden, he gets in contact with your attorney.
They requested. Yeah, I wasn't a part of this conversation. This was between attorneys. So, I kind of was just notified about what happened after it was over. But that attorney for the city had a conference call. And during the conference call, he basically, and I'm paraphrasing, like I said, I wasn't part of the conversation, but we were notified that our time was being cut down, and that Friday, October 10th would be the last day of the hearing, and it would go no later than 5 o'clock. It's my understanding that my legal team then started asking, well, what about Monday? And that was off the table. The day that had originally been scheduled, that was off the table. And then they said, well, can we stay later on Friday? And the city said, no, we will be done by 5 p.m. period. Whatever you can fit in during that time, that's what you get. So, and like I said,
this is Giles, Attorney Giles, speaking on Chairman Mason's behalf. And basically, Chairman Mason made the decision. He's relaying the decision. Okay. Right. Let me read you a quote from Mike Mason that he said at the end of day 4. Remember day 4 when they said they were going to limit your witnesses? Okay. And based off the concerns that were shown, Mason assured you and your legal team, and this is his quote, that the hearing will last as long as it takes. He clearly went back on that with this decision.
Right. And well, that day in the hearing, we had raised some concerns because the city had taken so long, so much time to call their witnesses, and we were beginning to become concerned because it was taking them so long. And we weren't having a chance, to begin calling our witnesses. So Robert Newcomb, one of my attorneys, he raised sort of just a concern that, hey, we want equal time. And what Mr. Mason said, that quote that you just gave, that was in response to the concerns that we raised about, we were worried about not being able to have equal time. So that was in response to that. He assured us that we would be able to.
Which he went back on. There's only one way to say it. He said he would, and then he took it away.
Somebody did.
Yeah. Yes. Now, and I know you can't get into details on this, but on that phone call, that they didn't just say that it's going to be over Friday, that's it. You're not going to get your due process. You're not going to get your time that we told you we were going to give you. I don't want you to, because I know I don't want Angie choking me, so I don't want you to go into what they said they were going to limit you to present, but they also limited you on several things that you could present that Friday, right?
Yeah, I don't really, to be honest, Jimmy, I don't really feel comfortable commenting on that. Not because there's anything to hide, but just because I wasn't part of the conversation.
Mm.
And I don't have any, none of my attorneys are here right now that were part of the conversation.
Sure.
So I don't want to say what was said or what wasn't said, but it was relayed to me some sort of indication about certain things that were off limits, so to say.
Right. Which is limiting your prison.
I just don't want to, I don't know exactly what that was part of the conversation. But
no, I don't want to push you anywhere that you don't need to go. As a result of this, though, this is what was really, because we talked about how you've been chomping at the bit. You want to be on that witness stand. You want to get up there and talk. Right. You invite being oh, I'm a little screen messed up. You were inviting opposing attorneys to come talk to you.
Sure.
You were waiting on that. Please ask me questions.
I was looking this entire time. I was looking forward to the opportunity to testify. There's a lot of, just, I don't really know a gentle way to put it, false accusations, things with a negative spin to it that could be very simply explained or, whatever. So I was absolutely looking forward to testifying. I had a lot to say. I still have a lot to say, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity to do that, at the next level. It was very disappointing to not be able to do that.
The reason you weren't able to do that was because of Mike Mason's decision to end it that Friday, because you had witnesses lined up that were crucial, that needed to be in there. Mark Nelson, your expert. We get there that Friday. Major, now retired Major Lee Wood with Conway PD, his testimony, and I don't want to get too deep into that, but here we get another curveball. His testimony was crucial, but it wasn't allowed. He never even got to take the stand in front of the commission, based off some, what I'm going to call false reports of him being on Facebook looking at the meetings, but we're not going to get into that. So there's another one. And at that Friday meeting, the objections that your attorneys were making, they no more than got objection out of their mouth before they were overruled. There was just a whole.
And I'm going to tell you, I was trying to keep count of of what it was, and I lost count. But yes,
And but it still goes back to, this is what we want the people to know, that you so wanted to testify, but because of Chairman Mike Mason's decision, and he's the only one that can make that decision. Okay, the chairman decides what is allowed. He rules on all objections. He basically rules the whole deal. Okay, even if the other commissioners wanted to extend the hearing, okay, Mike Mason could tell them no. Now it's clear to me that Eric King did not want this hearing to go on any longer. He and Chairman Mason did not want it to go on any longer. And keep in mind, they're the two that voted to uphold the termination. So
just simply put, I just wasn't afforded the time to do so.
No,
I mean, I want to. I look forward to it. I've got nothing to say. If you know me, I don't really hold back too much.
No, you don't hold back on anything. So based off everything that's happened so far from this hearing process, do you feel like you've been afforded due process by the Civil Service Commission?
No, I don't know how anybody could, think or argue that I have. I'll just leave it at that. And like I said, we're still in the process. We're if anything, we're more motivated and more determined now. We've kicked it into high gear, and so I don't want to comment too much about that. But I would have loved the opportunity to testify, and I wasn't given that opportunity.
Let me ask you this. Do you have faith when you get to circuit court, when you get your trial date set and your hearing date set for circuit court, do you have faith that you'll get due process at circuit court?
I have a great deal of respect for the judges that we have on the bench here. So there's no telling. I'm not even sure what the process is on determining who gets what cases or whose court this will fall in. Mm-hmm. But I have faith in that process, and I'm all I'm asking for is fairness, and I think that I'll get that.
All right, let's switch gears. Let's go somewhere that I know that you're going to have a difficult time going. We're going to talk about something that I know is very emotional for you, and I know is very painful for you. At Conway PD, you had a partner, okay, and your partner's name was Leo. And matter of fact, folks,
I still have a partner, and his name is Leo.
The picture behind Brittany is a picture of her and her partner, Leo. Okay. For the folks out there that don't know anything about Officer Leo or who he is, take a minute, tell folks about Leo.
K-9 Leo is a Dutch Shepherd that he came into my career. We came into each other's lives in 2019, early 2019. And we've been with each other ever since then. He had no gray hairs when I got him. He was just a young dog, a green dog, and now he's got a muzzle full of gray hairs, and I've probably got a couple as well. But we've spent a lot of time together. We've done a lot of good work together, and for almost 7 years, he has lived with me at my home. Every time I go to work, he's right there on my shoulder. He is in the canine world. There are a couple terms, so any canine handlers that might be listening to this, they'll understand what I mean. K-9 Leo is a one-person dog. He has one human in this world, and that's me. And he knows what my truck sounds like when I started up my patrol unit. He knows what it sounds like, and he's usually doing circles and spinning around in his kennel, ready to go. And he's a very intelligent, very good dog, and he's been a great partner for almost 7 years.
Take just a few seconds and maybe give us an example of some of the differences Leo has made in the community and what he has done.
Oh gosh, we've as a team we've seized millions of dollars of illegal narcotics and
Mhm.
contraband. I'm not a stat keeper, so I don't know exactly. I can't tell you,
Mhm.
but based on our Excel program and the things that we have to keep up with at the police department, he's taken millions of dollars of illegal narcotics and contraband off the streets. He has, um, recovered critical, vital evidence that's been discarded by fugitives, and he's just remarkable. He's even found some keys that officers have lost along the way. And we might be in a foot pursuit and they lose their keys. Well, I send Leo out there and he finds their keys. So he's really just remarkable. He's great.
Is Let's talk about the part that really upsets you about this, because when you were terminated, ever since June 30th, and I've got the records to prove this, by the way. I want to say that to the public. Ever since June 30th, Leo has basically been held in solitary confinement. He was taken away from you, and there's a portion of the building behind the police station that's attached to the police station that's a very small enclosure inside that he has been held in ever since June 30th. He has a very small outside area to go in. He has been held there basically roughly 23 hours a day. I've got all the records. He does get fed. Uh, Other K-9 officers are taking him on walks, trying to throw him the ball a little bit. And I believe that some of these folks are doing it on their off duty time, just out of the goodness of their heart. But basically, Leo,
One canine handler in particular, I think.
yes,
They're all helping to take care of him, all the canine handlers. But as I said, canine Leo is a one person dog, so it's he doesn't get the interaction, even if they have good intentions, he doesn't get the interaction.
not the same.
Right.
Basically, what Leo has been taken from you. You guys were taken from each other. And with no interaction, he has basically been put like in prison. When max security, when a prisoner goes to prison, they are put in what's called administrative segregation. And they are put in solitary confinement in a cell for 24 hours a day. And for 1 hour a day, they get to come out. And other than that, they're by themselves in a very small space. That's basically what has happened to Leo. And that's where he's been since June 30th. I know
Well,
this is tough for you, but go ahead and talk about that and anything else. You bring up whatever you want to bring up about Leo, his conditions, what he's going through. He's not getting the attention he deserves.
Um, well, to be fair, there's a doggy door that, the outside portion that you're talking about, that is really small and it's exposed to the elements. There is a doggy door that he can go through to go to a small indoor portion, but there's nobody walking past that or interacting with him or anything like that. So it's kind of just he's just there.
Am I accurate in calling this? Am I accurate? And I'm going to put you on the spot. Am I accurate in calling this a solitary confinement?
Well, all the dogs, all the canines, if they were to be put in a kennel, they're not put in a kennel with another dog.
Mhm.
So, again, I want to be fair, but, at my home and the other handlers' homes, we have personal pets. And like I've got 20 something, I don't even know how many chickens at this point that, they interact with Leo and he's learned sort of, leave them alone. And, so I don't know that necessarily solitary confinement is the word. I'm trying to be really fair to both sides here, but what I can say is he has no interaction from the person that he loves and the person that he's been with his whole life, and I know that he's wondering where I'm at, and
From a canine officer's perspective, you're an expert on this, okay? And as far as a canine officer, Leo, or any canine officer that's a dog, right? Taking them out of their normal environment, taking them off the street, taking them off they what to do, and now they're not doing that. That can affect their performance, can it not?
absolutely, absolutely. I have spent a lot of time wondering what he's going to be like when I finally do get him back, or if I do finally get him back. They these dogs are they love the work. They love to,
Mhm.
it's a game to them, and they love it. And he's not getting to do that. He's not getting to get in the car with me and go to work. He's not getting to just be loved on, because even the handlers that are, trying to take him on walks and stuff like that, they can't pet him. They can't bathe him. They can't brush him out and stuff like that, because his temperament is just different. Now, if you see him with me, he's gonna roll all over me and try to lick me in the face and stuff like that. I'm his person, but I, I don't know exactly what they're doing with him each day, and I have intentionally not looked at the records that have been FOI'd, uh, because this is a difficult subject. It's a really difficult subject. But I could say fairly confidently that he hasn't been given a bath. No one's clipped his nails. No one's, brushed him out or
Mhm.
anything like that, because they just, he's a one person dog.
The hardest part of this for you, I know, because you and I've had these conversations. He doesn't have to be there, does he? He doesn't have to be in that confinement.
No, he could be at home with me.
Yeah. And matter of fact, you have tried to very hard, you and your attorneys have tried very hard to facilitate that, right?
We've tried multiple different avenues. I won't go into the specific details of each, because I feel like that will be relevant in the future. But
Mhm.
everything from offers to just purchase the dog outright to maybe just different things, multiple different things, anything that we could think of, working with them in any way that we could with the city, and it's just they
I'm
just
I'm not going to push you too far on it, but I am going to ask you this. Tomorrow morning, with a stroke of a pen, Chief Harris could release him to you, right?
uh a fair answer to that is I don't know. I don't know if that's in his power or whose
Mhm.
actual power that is. But I do know that he did tell me when he terminated me. He told me that regardless of if I get my job back on appeal or not, either way it goes, that K-9 Leo would be mine. Is my dog, and
Whether you get your job back or not, which would
that's what he said.
which means you could have Leah.
That's what he said. But he said, during if I chose to appeal, that it was his decision that K-9 Leo was going to remain at the police department during the appeal process.
All right. So let me ask you this. He told you regardless, either way, Leo could be yours. If you didn't appeal, you could have him right now. If you do appeal, he's staying until the appeal is done out, which means he's staying until we get done with surgical, which could be more months.
I hope not. I hope that's not the case. We're going to keep fighting. We're fighting every day,
Right.
to try to get him to come home, because it's not just affected me. It's affecting him.
From my perspective, not yours. I want to make clear about this. This isn't Brittany saying this. This is my perspective. Leo's being held hostage. That's just me saying it. Okay. And I'm gonna keep saying it. And there's some things that are going to start happening on Leo's behalf. And but I'm going to move on because I know this subject's turning you up. I know it's turning you up.
Yeah,
Uh, let's move on because the city of Conway is really blessed to have a lot of wonderful police officers, right? I mean,
absolutely.
uh, just like the fire department, the Conway PD is vastly understaffed. Okay, vastly understaffed, vastly under resourced. The same way the Conway Fire Department. That's not speculation. That is actual fact. You can look at the numbers and the numbers in other departments. Okay, this is really something that involves everybody at the department. So what I want to ask you is, what is your message, not to the administration? What is your message to the officers of Conway, the boots on the ground, the officers that go out there every day and get it done? What is your message to them?
Well, first I will say, I'm proud of those guys and girls. I'm proud of them. I come from a very long line of law enforcement, and we're talking generations on both sides of my family. So, of course, me and my whole family, we back the blue. Okay. Um, the guys and girls that are in these marked units or in other divisions, but particularly the marked units that are answering the call day in and day out, I'm proud of them. I know that they've got a tough job, and a lot of times they're caught between a rock and a hard place. And I'm proud of them. I support them, and that hasn't changed through this.
I try not to interject, but I'm gonna interject something here as well because I've been doing this a long time and I've taken up for police officers, firefighters, first responders all over the state. Okay. And what I've found that has been common around the state is that criminals don't put fear into cops. Okay. The biggest problem that police officers face around their state and the biggest fears they have is from their own upper administrations. That's not Brittany saying it, that's me. And so that is a common theme around the state, and that's going to have to change. If we're going to get anywhere, that's going to have to change. Okay,
I want to add one
no, go
thing
ahead.
to that. I want to add one thing to that. You asked me about, what I think about the officers and stuff like that or whatever. I want to touch on something, a group of people that often get overlooked, and I want to make sure that this is known to our dispatchers, uh,
Mm-hmm.
the paramedics around here, Pafford Medical Services, firefighters in the city of Conway. They're great, and I have the equal respect for them. In fact, the unfortunate events in the evening that led to sort of the situation that I'm in, that those groups of people, our dispatchers, especially the firefighters, the paramedics, you couldn't have asked for anything more. And
Yeah.
I'm proud of them. I stand behind them. You know,
Yeah, those are the folks that are taken for granted right up until you're bleeding, right? And then all of a sudden they become very important. And dispatchers as well. Dispatchers are so valuable.
they
Uh,
are.
and so yes, and they all provide a service. They don't get paid enough. None of them do get paid enough, and they don't, and they're not appreciated enough. There's no doubt about it. I promise I
Sorry
wouldn't
to
keep.
throw you off there, but I wanted to add that. So,
No, I think it's great that you did, and I promise not to keep you too long. So I do want to get to the last thing. Uh, Community support has been overwhelming for you. Okay, not just in Conway, but statewide, but especially in Conway, in the surrounding areas of Conway. Okay,
mhm.
just overwhelming support for you. And I want to get you to give me your message to them. What do you say to those folks that are supporting you out there, that have your back, that know this is wrong, and they want it changed?
Well, the very first thing that I want to say is thank you. I mean, I can't say that, just doesn't even begin to touch it. Is, the outpouring of support that I have received from my family, my friends, sort of extended friends, but then what's been really surprising and just humbling, it just is complete strangers that I do not know, have never met, that have reached out to me, have reached out to my family. They've shown up to the hearings. They have, sent messages of support. I mean, it has been overwhelming at times, but in a good way. And I read every single message at some point. I read every single message of support that I've received, and I hear those people, see those people, and I appreciate them so much. It has really sort of turned this moment into a movement, and there are a lot of people that are seeing all this kind of go down, and it's on display for a large group of people to see, and people have become very involved, very invested in this, and I cannot thank them enough.
Speaking of that, people are invested and they want to invest more. Uh, People are coming out of the woodwork going, what can I do to help Brittany? What can I do to help Leo? Talk to those folks. There are some things that are being put together right now to try to facilitate some of this stuff. Talk to folks a little bit about that.
Um, well, as I said earlier, my legal team they've already got the ball rolling as far as that stuff goes in the appeal, and not just the appeal, but other things as well. But there are other core groups of people, that have reached out, or that, maybe I've leaned on, that have things in the works. That I know that there is. I'm not a very tech savvy kind of person, but I know there are people that are, and they're in the process of getting a Facebook page up, I think, and a website going, to keep people kind of updated on what's coming up, what's going on, where we are in the process, and things that they can do to help and get involved, because that's one of the main messages that I get all the time is I want to be involved. I want to help. I want to do, let me do something. Let me be involved. So, um, in full transparency, sometimes I don't even know what's going on. I kind of find out from my attorneys later on,
Yeah.
so, but there will be very soon, there will be a website and a Facebook page and places you can go, and some information is going to start getting pushed out very quickly. And like I said, it's just we're kicking things in high gear and we're ready to go.
Well, that's the thing. And when those pages come up and those websites come out, I'll help get them out. But I'll do my part to help get it out too, because what people are doing is, hey, they want to help you, but they also want to help Leo. And
Absolutely.
so there's a couple of things there, and things are being done to facilitate that. I promised I wouldn't keep you too long. Before we get out, is there anything else you want to say that I didn't cover? Anything else you want to get out there?
Well, that's a loaded question because there's a lot of things I would like to say, but I'll
Some of them
refrain.
let's be frank, some of them we'd have to bleep out.
Yeah, some of them would have to bleep out, but also it's probably wouldn't be beneficial to me to say all that right now. I will say, the people that have stepped up in this, I'm talking about the ones who have shown up to the hearings, the people who were brave enough to testify and tell the truth. the people who are using their voice on social media or whatever platform they have, or however, they're doing that. I commend them. I respect them. And that's part of why I am so motivated and determined to get this done and get it done the right way. I don't want other people having to fight these kind of fights. This shouldn't be happening to people.
Well, Brittany, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on. I know you've been really wanting to address the public, and I thought you did a great job. So we're going to do this again in the future. You promised me you'd come back on with me, right?
I will. There's been a couple times that I had to turn you away,
Yeah.
but
All right. Thanks, Brittany. We appreciate you.
all right, we'll see you later.